Radio, Philly Furman, and Jim, Chet, Chesko.
It's Tuesday, October 5th, 2021. Welcome to the Philly Press Box Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, and Allstate Insurance in Westchester, PA. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my co-host for the night, Edge of Philly Sports, Freddy Burns. My partner, Jim Chet, Chesko, is off tonight. Freddie, good to have you with me tonight. We're going to talk Philly sports.
I'm back home. I'm where I started. I'm back home, Philly Press Box. That's where it's at, baby.
Good deal. Well, we're certainly glad to have you. Chet's off on some personal business tonight, family business. So glad you stepped in. We got plenty to talk about. And start out by saying, I always say there's no moral victories. The Eagles did show some bright spots on the offensive side of the ball against the Chiefs. The defense, another story. We'll certainly talk about that. The Philly season ends 82-80, out of the playoffs yet again. Sixers trying to figure out how to move on without Ben Simmons. That's going to be a mess. The Flyer season opens up late next week. Only a couple preseason games left there. And Penn State has a huge game at Iowa this week, matching number 3 and number 4 in the country. As always, plenty going on in Philly sports.
So much going on. You got a couple ones that stroke a chord with me. Ben Simmons, obviously. We got Eagles. That's going to be a great to talk about. So much going on, good and bad. So I'm pumped to be here and talk about it.
Well, let's do it. Let's talk. Let's start out with the Eagles. We can talk about that offense. 30 points, 461 yards of total offense against the defending AFC champions, the Chiefs. But at the end of the day, certainly not near enough because they couldn't come up with any stops and had 2 stinking many penalties again. So let's start with offense. What's your take on how that all played out?
Well, I think first we got to just, the Chiefs are a terrible, awful defense. So that's one thing we have to address. And so were the Falcons. So our offense has been the best against bad defenses. So at least we got that going this year. I guess I'll start with Jalen Hurts since he's the quarterback. I think he played a lot better. He progressed. He's essentially a rookie. He made some good reads. Saw him get to the second and third read, which I really wanted to see because I hadn't seen that the last 2 games. Statistically, he had the yardage. He missed some big throws. The touchdown pass to Ertz and as well as Greg Ward. That's their game-changing throws, and elite quarterbacks make those throws. But I'm certainly not going to crush him. I was happy to see him, stand in the pocket a few times, and a couple times he even took a hit and made the throw. So I was very impressed with Hurts. And, even though there's the bad things that happen, you can't crush him. It was a good progression.
Yeah, I think so too. I guess the troubling thing offensively to me, well, I guess let's back up a second. Hats off to the 4 substitute offensive linemen.
Yes.
Other than they had some penalties, some illegal motion, those sort of things. Generally, they kept Hurts pretty clean, and at least one of them not even knowing he was playing until Sunday morning. Good job by those guys. But, I think in Hurts's case, as you mentioned, the 2 touchdowns, then they had the 2 touchdowns taken off the board due to penalties. I'm still not liking that Devonte Smith penalty. I think that's a bad call. I think he did establish himself back on the field in the end zone. Refs didn't see it that way. The other one against Whiteside was a ticky-tack call also, I believe. It probably by the letter of the law was a penalty. Still ticky-tack to me. So 4 touchdowns that could have been had that didn't get had by the offense.
Yeah, I agree with you on the offensive line. They were adequate and good as you can be, especially like you said, you wake up Sunday morning, Lane Johnson's out. You're like, oh, I'm playing the Chiefs today to play the way they did. And, as far as the touchdowns off the board, I would, the Arcega-Whiteside, I think that was essentially a penalty. I know, you could not call it, but at least that was clear as day. I think, like you said, the Devonte Smith, he clearly reestablished himself back in bounds. And like with the instant replay and all that stuff, like I just don't understand it, how like some calls get instant replays, others don't. Like there should be someone up there that just buzzes in at any time the call's wrong and just says, hey, this is the correct call. Wouldn't that be like the simple way to address these things?
They did review that because it was a touchdown play. The
call on the field was that's what the thing was. They couldn't review it because the call on the field was he didn't reestablish himself. No touchdown. That's what I thought. I misread it.
I thought they did review it. Maybe I'm wrong, but either way, I mean, if that's the case, Nick Sirianni has to throw his flag, and that needs to be changed. He needs to throw his red hanky, and I mean, that's why I thought it was already done. But either way, let's go talk about Devonte Smith. 7 catches, 122 yards, his best game for sure, and he looked like what we thought we were going to get. And if he gets that touchdown, now you're at about 150 yards for the day. Big game for him.
Great game for him. We've been seeing him get the separation for the most part during the week. I think the last 2 weeks was more of a Hurts issue, and to Hurts' credit, he took it on the shoulder after the Cowboys loss. Smith, to you, I've listened to you talk about him before. You watch way more college than me, and you've been gushing about him, and he's the real deal. Regardless if Hurts works out or not, I think we finally have a receiver, the first really good receiver, I guess, since maybe Jeremy Maclin. And he's not even, I guess, superstar caliber though. So going back to T.O., that we have that caliber of a receiver on this roster. So I'm very excited for the future to see what Devonte Smith has,
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that really troubled me on the offensive side, they're running this RPO offense. That's fine. That's what everybody's doing. But I think the timing of that RPO is off, which is causing these linemen downfield penalties. They've got to work on that. They're going to get better with that as the season goes on, and they get more reps and they're all together more. But with that said, here we are with only 10 rushes for Miles Sanders and Kenny Gainwell, 7 for Sanders for just 13 yards, and Gainwell 3 for 31 yards. You got to be able to run the football better. Now, maybe the defenses are wanting you to throw the ball. They're stopping the run in the RPO and they're making you throw, and you're taking what you're being given. But I don't think you can go through a season with your running backs only carrying the ball 10 times a game.
Yeah, at 48 attempts for Hurts, we all understand that this is a passing league, and you had the lineman issues. But I was always under the standing, and even being a lineman, of the understanding that it's easier to fire out and block as a run blocker than it is pass blocking. Anyhow, the fans were chanting it. It's becoming an issue. I know they were having success throwing the football, but you got to remember who's on the other side as well. And that would have helped too. That would have kept Mahomes and that offense off the field a little bit more to help that defense. Just give me a little commitment, and then of course, the one time he does run it in the red zone, it's a 7-yard touchdown. And of course, everyone's going nuts, but that was a surprise. That was a good call there. He knew he would take them by surprise with the defensive set that the Chiefs were coming out in.
Yeah. Well, and like I say, I'm not sure a lot of that's not scheme. If you're in the RPO and they're giving you the run, giving you the pass, and they're taking away the run, you're going to pass. But at some point, I think you have to get some balance there.
I'm just curious because given you were a coach, and I know you're not crazy on the balance thing. Like, you like some people need it to be 50-50, and I'm with you. But it has to have some kind of balance, not the way it is now. What's your take on Sirianni saying, we count RPOs as runs, and he's good with that?
Well,
even if they throw.
Times have changed. I mean, we saw that the other night. Was it Brady that did it? Where he just threw a little 3-yard out. They was like, well, that's a run play. That's what the West Coast offense is, with all those dink and dunks and outside screens, wide receiver screens. They're run plays. Because they don't run the ball anymore much in this league. And I think that's really what that's about. But speaking of balance, let's jump over to the defense. Kansas City, 200 yards rushing, 271 yards passing. Talk about balance. 9 of 10 on third downs. They were not good out there on the defensive side of the ball.
40 plus points in back-to-back weeks. Is this? Are we going to start arguing like we did over Billy Davis? Me and you on Facebook. This is Billy Davis stuff right now. This is Chip Kelly defense right now. I don't think Gannon's that bad. I think the personnel he's dealing with is just not there. you're seeing linebackers not make reads on time. We still have a huge linebacker issue, and they're rotating 7 different linebackers often. Patrick Johnson was starting last week, and he didn't even play this week. So I think there's a lot of changes and a lot of scheme communication that, defensively, that this defense clearly isn't on the same page. The secondary, Rodney McLeod just got back, but, they're running this cover 2 deep zone, which, I guess for the most part, but they still give up big plays. They have 4 plays of 20-plus yards.
Right.
And you move to the defensive line. Everyone's hammering Fletcher Cox. He's getting double teamed on plays, but Hargrave seems to be the only one to make any plays. But I mean, if you make 2 sacks, great. But if you get gashed for 10 to 12 yards on the run every play, I'd rather you get no sacks, because you're not helping anything. If a team's going to run the football like that on you, you're not going to win the football game.
Yeah, there was a whole period there in the third quarter, I think it was, where there was 8-10-yard rushes before contact. I mean, there was no broken tackles. They were just running through gaping holes, and safeties are making tackles because the front 7 was just getting annihilated. That's not good. Statistically, like you say, you see some guys making plays, but at the end of the day, if you're watching the game and you see these big gaping holes, you got trouble. Now, they said today, well, we're not a dime defense. Well, yeah, you're not a nickel defense either. You're not really much of any defense at this point. Derek Barnett still making penalties. Fletcher Cox statistically doing nothing. Ryan Kerrigan has not made a stat all season. And I think we all thought there was some left in the tank there and that he might be a nice pickup. He's done nothing either.
I think losing Brandon Graham hurts them there too, because what they could do with Graham is have him stand up at outside linebacker a little bit, where with Kerrigan, you can't do that. He's just stuck at defensive end. And more to the running the ball, we kind of knew there was an issue when Cordell Patterson looked like a Barry Sanders or Ezekiel Elliott week 1 when they were gashing us. I don't know why the Falcons got away from the run. The 2 drives the 49ers had to beat us, they just ran it down our throats. You got to stop the run first. And that's always been something, as much as we've been criticized Schwartz for and get frustrated with it. I just, he at least was a top 12 D, top 10. And with Gannon right now, everything that was promised as far as this disguise and this attack, and they're going to take the ball away defense, they're not causing turnovers either, which is a big, big problem. What was the first interception of the year from a linebacker too at that? Was this week, and they won the turnover battle, but that's a problem. One interception in 4 weeks. I'm real concerned. 40 points. Like I don't. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, and now you have to. I guess this isn't a cop out by any means, because you can't give up 40 points, but they did give them up to Dallas and Kansas City, so. You're not going to see too many Tyreek Hills or guys that run around like him and Kelsey. And I mean, they're a good team. And the Eagles, like you said, the Eagles just don't have the players yet, I think, to maybe do some things that they want to do in this scheme. They certainly don't have the linebackers.
Do you think we'll crush Howie on another show, but this goes back to Banner even. Are they ever going to take the last, what was it, Jordan Hicks? And that was a Chip Kelly pick. And that was a 4th round pick because he was injured. That was a value pick, kind of. Are we ever going to take linebackers? All we do is take safeties and convert them.
I believe, if my memory serves me right, the last linebacker taken in the 1st round was by Dick Vermeil in 1978. Jerry Robinson out of UCLA, I believe, is the last 1st round linebacker taken by the Eagles. You got to have guys. You got to have guys. Now, to give them all, kind of the benefit of the doubt, Sirianni and these guys come in, they got a new scheme, they want to run a 4-3. You pick up a roster that has no linebackers on it, basically. So you're kind of stuck with what you got for now. So, back to the whole thing about maybe this is a rebuild, a reload, whatever you want to call it, year. They got to get better players to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish.
Time will tell, but I just have a huge concern with the guy making the picks, because we've been trying to get better players for a good amount of time now. The only Pro Bowler is Carson Wentz, and he's not here anymore.
Right. Well, they're going to have an opportunity. It looks like the way it's playing out, they're going to get that Colts pick, at least now. They've got the Dolphins pick. They've got their own pick. They're going to have a lot of opportunity to get better through the draft here shortly. And, I think we can all kind of comfortably say in the next couple of weeks, they're not winning many, if any, of these games. And there's a chance that they could be 1-6 or 2-5 here coming up shortly.
Yeah, they said if the season ended today, we'd have like the 6th pick, the 8th pick, and the 9th pick. Three
right.
top 10 picks.
Yeah.
Got to hit one, right?
You better hit 3.
Even the Sixers hit 1 out of 3, right?
That's right. All right. Hey, plenty of Eagles to talk about. Good stuff, and we could go on all night, but we got other stuff to talk about. So let's jump over and talk about those fighting Phils, 82-80. Not much overall improvement for the season. They let so many games get away with the bullpen. And the bottom half of the lineup was atrocious. I don't even know how they put that thing together the last quarter of the season. But thoughts on the season and chances of Bryce Harper winning the MVP? I've got another MVP to share with you.
I have three that are possibilities, but as far as the Philly season, yeah, you basically said it, nailed it. It was very underwhelming. There were some injuries, but to Rhys Hoskins and other players in and out of the lineup. DD didn't seem to fully be healthy all year. But what got me the most is the fielding, the errors. It was just terrible baseball, like bad news bear stuff again. Even coming after the following year before that, with the same mental mistakes that they continue to make. And I think I am confident in Dombrowski, though. I think Dombrowski had an idea in his head that he expected this would go as the bats go. And that's kind of how the season went. If the bats were on, we won games. If the bats were cold, we lost. And if you had a good pitcher's outing, you had a good pitcher's outing, but it didn't really matter unless the bats were going. So we'll see what they do, this offseason. As far as the MVP, I don't know. It's going to be tough. I think you got Juan Soto in there coming up, and then you got Tatis. But Tatis fell off the second half of the year. So, Bryce has stats that we haven't seen since like Ruth and Aaron and Stan Musial. But Juan Soto's right there, and the RBI department might be where he loses. So I don't know. I guess I'm going to be a homer and pick Bryce Harper. But, what did he lead? OPS, slugging. He led the league in doubles. But I think Soto has a chance as well.
Yeah. Well, I think that the couple things you got to talk about with this team, first of all, is the bullpen. 30 blown saves. And I said this to Chet probably 8 weeks ago. What it seemed like with this team is they could never get everything in sync. They hit one night, they pitched bad. If they pitched good, got a few hits, they didn't get it done in the bullpen. There was 3 phases: the offense, the starting pitching, and the relief pitching, and they never seemed to be able to put all that together enough nights in a row. They'd come up and give up 4 runs in the first couple innings, and they'd be behind 4-1, and then they'd get 5 perfect innings of relief, and they'd lose. And then the next night they would pitch decent, and the bullpen would implode. So just there was so much inconsistency in how you're going to win and really make a playoff run when you're running out Miller, Galvis, Didi, Knapp,
Torreyes,
McCutchen, Torreyes.
And Torreyes has a big clutch hits for us this year, but yeah,
he did, but
he's not a starter.
No, right, exactly, and I think they realized that, and that's why they brought in Galvis. But then you're down the stretch. Galvis isn't winning you a pennant,
right?
So. But here's my MVP. Maybe a dark horse. I think he's going to win both awards. I'm going with Max Scherzer. 15-4. 15-4 with a 2.46 ERA since he went to the Dodgers, Fred. 11 games, 7-0, 1.98 as a Dodger after the trade deadline. I'm going Max Scherzer, Cy Young, Max Scherzer, MVP.
You make a great case there. He's just unbelievable and outstanding. What he's doing with the Dodgers. You could make the case like, he's at the Nationals and, they're not a winning club, but now he's on a winning club too. So that's going to help him and the way he's pitching for them to help them down the stretch. Oh man, that's a good one, Bill. I think you might be right here.
On the best staff, he's the best, and they've got a great staff. He's the best pitcher on the best staff. If it comes money time, that's the guy I want with the ball, and I think he's going to be pretty darn good.
I can't argue that one. Speaking of pitching, though, another bright spot for the season was Zach Wheeler. He emerged as a 1. He lead the league in strikeouts, innings pitched too, I think.
Yeah.
So that was good to see him. But then I guess the downer is Aaron Nola now looks like a 3, maybe 4.
yeah. The Aaron Nola, man, I'm not quite so sure what to think about that. September was not good for him. And, I guess the sad part about the whole season, I guess it was really kind of put it all in a nutshell, is when they go to Atlanta. They just want to be close. They got kind of close and then just got their doors blown off. Needing to go in there to sweep was probably asking too much. They needed to be a little bit closer than that. And probably as far as Harper and the MVP, that probably costs him the MVP to go in there and go 0 for 11.
Yep.
If he goes in there and gets 4 or 5 hits and a couple home runs, they might win some games. And not that certainly is to blame him. I mean, he was the bright spot of the team and was really fun to watch this year because kid just loves to play and he's fun to watch. But so much to worry about.
Would you agree with what Mike Schmidt said, that because I love Harper and I don't even understand any criticism of him because he gives it every day, but Schmidt called him a modern day Pete Rose, the hustle. And I know he's not as good as Pete Rose, but modern day as far as the hustle and all that, how do you feel about that comparison?
Yeah, I mean, that's huge shoes to fill, but coming from a guy that knows a little bit about it, I mean, that's the way Pete played. I would say that Pete was a little more controlled. Harper makes a lot of base running mistakes because he tries to be over aggressive. Pete was smart, and Pete knew the arm of every guy, and if he was stretching a base, he was making it. He wasn't getting thrown out by 8 steps like Bryce did a couple times there down the stretch. But the effort is there, and just the love of the game, you can see it. And that's how it was with Pete.
Cool.
All right. Well, hey, let's take a quick break, Fred, and we got to thank our friends over at Allstate Insurance. If your couch is getting more mileage than your car, it's time to start saving with Allstate's pay-as-you-go auto insurance. Allstate's pay-as-you-go auto insurance puts you in control. You only pay for the miles you drive with the same full coverage with a traditional policy offers. Pay-per-mile insurance gives customers greater control of their insurance costs. You see how much you could save with pay-per-mile car insurance by calling your local agent, Dave Lavoie. Give Dave a call in Westchester at 610-430-0700 and start to save more now that you're driving less. All right, Fred, let's see if I can.
I like that less at the end. That's good.
Less. All right, let's see if I can make this thing happen because I'm at the controls tonight without Chet. So I'm going to do my best to make this happen. Chet had a chance to sit down yesterday with Aimee, Levin, and Alison Platt Tarnopol to talk about this weekend's Susan Lloyd first annual Family Golf Classic in Voorhees, New Jersey. It's a fundraiser. Chet wanted to sit with these guys or these ladies, and so let's hear how that went. And here we go.
All right, we're going to take a few minutes now to tell our viewers and listeners about a great fundraising event happening this Sunday in Voorhees. It is the first annual Susan Love Golf Outing on behalf of the Lionsgate Life Plan community. Joining me to do that are a couple of wonderful women who have helped put the event together, Aimee Levin and Alison Platt Tarnopol. Welcome, ladies.
Hi, how are you?
Doing just great. So it is happening this Sunday, the Susan Love Family Golf Classic. Now, for people who don't know the name, Susan was the boss at Lionsgate, and she passed away last winter at the young age of 57. Beyond that, Alison, who was Susan Love?
The best way to describe Susan was really in one word, and that is family. She was very close to her own family, her parents, her sisters, her daughter Ashley, her nieces, her fiance, her stepson. But she also carried that philosophy over to Lionsgate, and her philosophy here was that we should be a family of friends. And her theme and their logo became "We're Better Together." And that was all Susan's doing. She had the vision. It made her the most, not just the boss, but she was a respected leader and a mentor and a friend to the residents, to the employees, to the board, and to our community as a whole.
Aimee, is there anything else we should know about Susan?
Well, Susan was dedicated, as Alison said, to this community. We're very proud of the fact that we are a 5-star community. We have independent living as well as skilled nursing, assisted living, rehab, and safe haven.
I read her obituary in the Inquirer from last February, and some of the things it said, friends, coworkers, and family members described her as an exceptionally well-rounded woman. She was kind, patient, funny, and generous with her warm smile. She was also unflappable, efficient, and detail-oriented, and she knew every resident's name. She handwrote New Year's cards to residents each Rosh Hashanah, and she loved chocolate, the color yellow, monkeys, and golfing with her parents. So let me ask you, Alison, why did you guys decide to do this golf event in her honor?
Susan had always talked about wanting to do something like this, where she could bring multi-generations of families together for a day of fun, to raise awareness of what we do at Lionsgate, and to have everybody participate with our residents and the community, and really get to know us. And this was always a dream of hers. Aimee?
We had long talked about doing a golf event, and I think the thing that really makes it a family golf event is that it is mini golf and chip and putt. So it's not your typical 18-hole golf event. Susan always wanted our younger members in the area to intermingle with our elders. And this event also is a thank you to people in independent living at Lionsgate, as well as the Saltzman House, for all they've done for the community within the last, couple years. Residents are bringing their grandchildren. We have food trucks, we have entertainment. We have 270-inch screens with the Eagles game on next week. So we have something for everybody.
I wanted to ask you about that. That was a great idea. The Eagles are playing Sunday, and even though they've lost 3 games in a row, there's going to be a lot of people who want to keep tabs on the Eagles, right?
Yes. So there's no excuse not to come because we have everything you possibly could need.
All right. I have to ask Aimee and Alison, do either of you play golf, and how's your game?
I'm a golf widow, so I think I saw my husband bowl 2 hours this past weekend because he was on the golf course.
I, on the other hand, am wonderful at getting the ball through a windmill or a clown's mouth. That's about it.
I hear
and
you.
my favorite place to golf is Myrtle Beach.
So what do you hope this first annual event will do for the community, Lionsgate and beyond?
My wish is that the community as a whole can see what we do here and how we help our residents. We have art studios, and also Friends of Jewish Senior Housing is a committee of the Board of Senior Housing, and we give back to our residents things that they need. It can be something as simple as a newspaper being delivered to their home, or something as large as purchasing a bus for Lionsgate and a bus for the Saltzman House. Our money that we raise strictly goes back to our residents.
Awesome. It's going to be a great event. But I want to change the subject here. I didn't give you any warning about this, but I'm going to put something up on the screen. This is a picture from a couple of years ago. And Alison, I want you to explain what's going on here.
Oh, God. That is perhaps one of my favorite pictures of all time. I am an avid Barry Manilow fan. My daughter's name is Mandy. Since 1976, I'm crazy. I see him all the time. I travel the country. Met him a couple times. Anyway, when I became president, they reached out to his people, and he sent me an autographed picture congratulating me on my presidency, and Susan was presenting it to me in that picture. Stunning. I'm stunned. It was amazing. It was fun. Amazing.
I got to tell you, I'm an old Barry Manilow fan as well from back in the Mandy days. Could it be magic? Weekend in New Orleans. I don't admit that.
I
to
sang on
everybody.
stage. I sang I Can't Smile Without You with him on stage at the Camden Entertainment Center in 1995.
That is awesome. And a couple of years ago, I was out in Las Vegas for a wedding, and I finally got to see him. I got to see him in Vegas, and it was a whole lot of fun. So, yeah, Barry Manilow is cool. I got to be honest.
He is. Yes, he is.
All right. Once again, the Susan Love Family Golf Classic is this Sunday, the 10th. It's 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and it is at Golfland on Haddonfield Berlin Road in Voorhees. How can people get tickets or sponsor and support this event, ladies?
Right now, we suggest that reservations be made. We will do our best to accommodate any walk-ins. We have 3 tee times, 10, 12, and 2. You would register at www.lionsgateccrc.org. Love golf.
Awesome. That is this Sunday, and it's going to be a great event. Aimee, Levin, and Alison, Platt, Tarnopol, thank you both for talking with us. And thanks to our friend Chris Parsons behind the scenes as well. Have a fantastic event this Sunday.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, Fred, I'll tell you what, that was pretty good. Pretty funny, pretty fun interview.
Chet's a good interviewer. He's does a good job.
He is, and you know, the thing I like about stuff like this, we've been trying to do more of it, is there's more and more people out there trying to do more and more for people. You know, it's a time when people need help, and fundraisers are a big thing, and it's good that people are reaching out trying to do these kind of good things for people.
It's always good to give back. I'm glad you guys even covered on your show, because it just shows other people that good things are happening in this world as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, speaking of good things, check this out.
Hi, football fans. This is Merrill Reese, and you're listening to Bill and Chet on Philly Press Box Radio. It's good.
Had to do it. Just had to do it.
Good old Merle. Keep that forever, too. That's awesome.
That's right. All right. Hey, Fred, Sixers, subject near and dear to your heart, Ben Simmons Bridge. Are you on the train that the Ben Simmons Bridge is burnt? I saw an article today. Looks like he's put his condo up for sale in town. I guess he means business. He's done.
I unfortunately have to admit I'm wrong. You know, I thought a lot of this was media driven and a lot of the BS through the summer, but as it got closer and closer, I'm like, you know, this guy's for real. And, you know, it kind of, for all the people like me that defended him and, you know, tried to have his back as much as we could. Because as a player, I think he's a good player. He's not trash like a lot of people want to say. And he's not one-dimensional offensively. He's just not your guy in the fourth quarter. And he's a little scared right now. You know what I mean? He's not that guy, but that doesn't mean he's a bad player. But, I mean, for him to do what he's done this offseason, and I think he's getting bad advice from his agent, bad advice from his family, basically just paints the picture of a wimp, a wuss, someone that's going to run away from exactly not taking the dunk. It just validates the whole thing. And I'm kind of angry about it, to be honest with you, because, you know, the team for the most part has been molded around him. You know, Joel Embiid has kept his mouth shut on him not shooting, tried to support him as best he could. Even, you know, a lot of times he was out at the 3-point line. We're crushing him and Brown, but really it was so Ben could have the ball in his hand and to give him the lane. And, you know, for Jimmy Butler leaving, the team bringing in Al Horford to have a stretch 5, not because Embiid, as much as he tries to be a stretch 5, he's 37% from 3, but that's not his game. He's in the post. So, like, good riddance. See you, Ben, but don't give him up for anything. I would hold him out for 4 years. It's Daryl Morey, and they're not paying him, so it's not like it's going to cost them money. You know, Daryl Morey has to take a stand here, because Rich Paul and this stuff with these players that decide in 4 years left on a contract that they're not playing, they're out of here and they can go where they want, is nonsense. And I really think they need to take a stand. And unless they get Bradley Beal or Dame Lillard or a solid package of picks, they should just hold him and make him suffer, ruin his career. I'm so angry about it.
Well, I think the thing, to your point there, though, the problem is your team got worse, and if you're holding him out and you've got nothing to replace him with, your team got worse. So how do you get better? How do you make this final push before the Embiid window closes, however many more years that is, and the guys around him? But again, you can't be taken hostage, and he's put them in a position where it's nothing but bad. It's nothing but bad for the organization, and Simmons does look bad, and the trade value goes down with that. Unless there's a whole lot more to the story than we know, and that kind of bothers me. Does he end up going and playing for Magic Johnson or something, and all of a sudden he is what we thought he was going to be, a triple-double machine every night in some other environment?
His greatest game is point-wise. Embiid's not on the floor. There are games that he has done that. I was at that game in Brooklyn, the 42-point game. He's still young, which a lot of Philly doesn't understand. He's only 4 years in this league, and he's going to eventually do it. Like, it's going to happen. It's not going to be here. I don't know if he's going to if it's going to be in his head, he's not going to make them or not, but he's going to go somewhere and he is going to do it. I'm with you. It's very, it stinks, but as far as the Sixers go, I think you at least got to go to the trade deadline, because something's going to happen in the NBA this year, whether it's the Blazers are 10 games under 500 and it's like, okay, we have to get rid of Lillard now. The only piece out there that a young team is getting rid of is Ben Simmons. So then maybe that comes up, or Bradley Beal then approaches if the Wizards are in last place. So you got to roll the dice and see what happens. You're certainly not trading him to the Pacers for Malcolm Brogdon and Karis LeVert, or, there's some ridiculous trades out to the Timberwolves for, I don't know, Malik Beasley and D'Angelo Russell. Like, just no, because your team doesn't get better that way either.
Exactly. They can't just dump. Like you say, he kind of has the Sixers at hostage right now, and that's not good. And now he didn't get $8 million either the other day, $8+ million. That window closes too, so and that's only a quarter of your salary.
And he called it an act of war, Bill. Like, that's the report. The Sixers made an act of war. Like, dude, come on with your dramatics. An act of war. That's what you're putting out there. It's not even close to war. People die at war. Like, war. Right. Like, shut up. Like, I'm so annoyed with this guy, and I was so wrong to have his back. I got to eat crow on it, but I'm going to crush him now.
and I tell you what, I liked him too. I thought he was going to be a great player, but the spoiled kid has definitely showed up, and it doesn't look good for him for sure. And unfortunately, the Sixers are the hostages because of it. All right. Hey, Chet, Fred, as you know, I'll get with it. Chet, Boop, Bob Patron Jr., and we pick NFC East games each week, and I think we have traveling Chet trying to join us. There he is.
Hey guys, how are you?
There he is. What's going
traveling
on?
Chet? That's what you wrote in there?
I am in a U-Haul because I am on the move, guys. I don't know if you know this, but somebody put a $3.1 million mansion up for sale in Philly, and I had to go for it. So I'm riding in a U-Haul with a bunch of furniture ready to move in.
Well, the only problem with that story, Chet, is if you're buying a $3.1 million place, somebody else is moving the furniture.
Well, I had to cut costs somewhere, guys,
Right. I hear you. Oh, hey, glad you could join us. What state are you in, by the way? You're pulling one of my deals, calling from some other state.
Yeah, I'm on the road. Got a much later start than was planned, so I'm actually only right around Washington, D.C. So another 15 hours or so, I'll be at my destination.
Oh, there you go. That'll be morning time. Good deal.
Yeah, can't wait.
All right, so we got Chet. Glad you could come on. We're going to get our picks in, so we'll do that with you. Last week, Chet, you were 3-1. You took the Cowboys correctly again because that's your team. Boop was 2-2. I was 1-3, man. I'm stinking it up. So, Chet, you were 10-6. I hate to say. Boop is 7-9, and I am 6-10. Yikes! I better get on the move here. So, Fred, feel free to jump in, make your picks this week as well, just for fun. So here we go. Let's start out. We got our throw-in game. I have Boop's picks. Boop's picks. I just now looked at them, so I haven't looked at them before now. We're going to start out with our throw-in game. Thursday night, the Rams at the Seahawks. The Rams are -2. The Saints come to Washington to play the football team. The Saints are -1.5. The Giants go to Dallas. The Cowboys are -7. The Eagles travel to Carolina. The Panthers are -4. So, Chet, you're up. Then Fred will go with you. I'll read Boops, and I'll go last tonight. How's that?
All right, you ready?
Go ahead. Let's go. We got Rams at Seahawks. Rams -2.
Rams are going to bounce back. I know they're on the road. Seahawks ain't the old Seahawks with their great defense. The Rams will win this one on the road.
I agree. Right. I'm going Rams too. And since I'll make my prediction now, the Rams will win the Super Bowl this year as well.
Oh,
wow. All right. Boop's going Rams as well. Couple notes from him. The Rams allowed 37 points in a year and a half before the high-flying Cardinals did so. Have not allowed 37 points in a year and a half. He also said from a betting standpoint, Rams have been over all 4 games. So he wants over 54.5 on that one. All right, I'm going Rams as well. That gets us the Saints at the football team. Saints -1.5. Chet, what you got?
I know there's some love for Washington in this one. I'm still not sold on them. I think New Orleans is going to be kind of angry this week after losing last week to the stinking Giants in overtime. I'm taking the Saints to win this one on the road.
I'm going to go Saints too. Depends what Jameis Winston you get, but the Redskins D's looked awful. I'll go Saints.
Boop is going Saints on this one too. His betting note, any quarter being scoreless is his note. The football team has scored 3 points in the first quarter all season long. New Orleans has allowed just 7. You could easily win this one in the first 15 minutes by going a scoreless first quarter. So, and I am also going with the Saints on this one because I'm still not sold on the football team. All right. Giants at the Cowboys. Cowboys -7. Chet, we know you're going with your team.
It kills me to pick the Cowboys again, but the Giants ain't that good. They got the fluke win last week. Dallas wins this one. The Cowboys are going to run away with the stinking NFC East.
I can't believe Chet took his Daniel Jones jersey off and jumped on the Dak train.
Never had one, Fred.
We know better, don't we, Fred?
I'm picking the Giants. Screw them Cowboys.
Oh.
Boop takes the Cowboys. Listen to this. He says, latest 7.5. We had it at 7. He's 7.5. Is floating around. Dallas, the last 4 home games, wins by 8, 20, 20, and 8. And none of those teams are as bad as the New York Football Giants, is Boop's note. So he's taking the points there. Cowboys, I've got also in that one, I hate to say. That gets us to the Eagles traveling to Carolina to play the Panthers -4 on that one. Chet, what you got?
Love to pick the Eagles in this one, but I just can't. Until they show me they can beat a quality team, I can't do it. And Carolina is pretty decent. Not great, but pretty decent. They are at home. Eagles are still banged up on the offensive line. I don't know if Lane Johnson will be back. I didn't hear. Maybe you guys got an update on that. I don't know Mailata's case regarding whether he's going to be able to come back soon. So I know they played okay this past week without those guys, but no, can't do it. Got to take Carolina at home.
I'm going Carolina too. The receivers, I just don't see we're going to stop them. They got speed on that offense even without McCaffrey. Panthers.
Hey Chet, before I get on to Boop, someone has sent you a note.
Yeah.
Well, that was not the one. But
I got you.
You're right, Joey. Whoa, what's going on here? Not so fast, Chet. Long way to go. You're giving
Okay,
from Robbie
Robbie, I
Ellis.
hope you're right. I would love to see the upset. I would love to see the Eagles win every single time I pick against them. Believe me, I'm still rooting for them. And, much as I wanted to wager money on the Chiefs last week, I couldn't do it. I just can't bet money on, my team losing or failing to cover. I can't do it.
All right. Boop takes Eagles.
Yep.
He takes the Eagles.
Whoa.
He also said to his betting note, is the fourth quarter is the highest scoring quarter. The Eagles have scored more points in the fourth quarter than they have in all three of the rest of the quarters put together. He's going Eagles with a fourth quarter bet. And before I ever saw this, I took Eagles as well. I think they're going to get better. I think offensively they're showing some better signs. The defense is not going to give up 40 points again. We're talking Sam Darnold this week. We're not talking Patrick Mahomes. There's no Tyreek Hills running around either. So I'm going to say the defense is probably going to get a little bit better. They're not going to lose all these. They're not going to be 1-6, I don't think. And there's one game they're going to steal. This is the game that I'm going with.
I hope you're right.
So we'll see. We'll see. So, Chet, did you, I don't know, you're driving if you wrote them down or not, because I
did write them down, yeah. My wife is driving currently, so she wants to get back on the road. And, I got to tell you, even though I'm the selfie king, I've never held a phone like this for 8 straight minutes. My arm is tired, so I got to go.
All right, Chet. Well, you guys drive safe and arrive in your destination, get some rest, and we'll talk to you next time.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Okay, let's not forget, if you want to follow Bob Petrone Jr., Boop, on his website for all kinds of betting information and so forth, go to boopstats.com. All right. Well, Fred, speaking of, let me get myself back together again. I'm running all over the place. We got this other thing going on with these guys. These guys right here. The Edge of Philly Sports Network. Let's give a shout out to all the live shows this week, including this one. Episodes being streamed live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. You can also catch all the action at www.eopsports.com. Please help us out by hitting those subscribe, follow, like buttons, and as always, share with your family and friends. In addition to this great show, check out our partners in Philly sports, including Edge of Philly Sports Live. That's you, Freddie.
Yeah, man.
Joe and Joe, Freddie, Big Al, as they cover 4 for 4 and so much more Philly sports. Watch live Wednesday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Birds IQ, Kyle and Eric Quinn are back. Catch them Thursday nights at 7 p.m. talking all things birds. And the Patterson Avenue Fanatics every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Wake up and have breakfast with the gang. TK, Marks, James, Paul, Dave, and Damon, and get your Philly sports talk on. If you miss any of those shows, you can grab the podcast on all the major platforms. Remember, you can stay up to date on all Philly sports by visiting eopsports.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. Subscribe to the weekly newsletter, and you can sign up at eopsports.com, and that newsletter will show up on Friday morning in your email box, probably by about 10 o'clock, and you will be up to speed. What do you got going on at your show this week? Anything special?
We just got exciting stuff. We don't have a guest this week. We may have a surprise one tomorrow. We'll see. But, just me, Al, and Joe breaking each other's stones. Me being right like I always am, and then two following, I see them in the comments here. That's the only reason I said it.
Yeah, they're both on here. They're both listening to you. So I'm sure we'll get a couple more things flowing up here real quick. Let's see. Al made picks there. He took the Rams, the Saints, the Cowboys, and call me crazy, he took the Eagles. So pretty good. Oh, there we go. All right. Hey, Fred, obviously great guest tonight in our little interview with Aimee and Alison. Next week, we'll be back on our regular schedule Wednesday. Chet will be back. We'll have special guest Bill Meltzer. We'll be talking Flyers. He's always great. And Chet probably has a second guy lined up, not confirmed as of yet. I'm sure we'll be talking some more Eagles as well. But Bill Meltzer will be here as we kick off Flyer season next Friday night. The regular season starts, so that'll be fun. Freddie, college football now reaching week 6. More big games, as we said. Number 4 Penn State visits number 3 Iowa. Iowa's -2 in that one. Your team, the number 2 ranked Georgia Bulldogs, their defense is lights out, as is the Penn State defense, I might add. They visit number 18 Auburn. Georgia is 14.5-point favorites in that. How do you like these games? How do you like the way the season's unfolding?
I'm liking it, obviously. I'll start with Georgia first. I pay attention to them the most. So, this defense is unbelievable. They've given up 23 points all year. And out of that 23, 7 points was a pick 6, and another 3 was due to a turnover in their own red zone. So essentially, they've given up 13 points, really, without the offense giving it to the other team. I do have concerns on the offense, though. We have a quarterback issue here. We don't know who the quarterback is. And, we beat Clemson and then Arkansas, but, Clemson isn't what Clemson was. Arkansas, though, was supposedly a lock last week. They blew them out. So I'm excited for Georgia. We'll see what happens. But I'm picking Georgia this week. I think they'll beat Auburn, and then Penn State, Iowa. My dad liked Penn State, and I rooted against them just to break stones on Saturdays. I'm obviously wasn't going to root against the Eagles. And like when I was a kid, I loved Kerry Collins, Kajana Carter, Bobby Ingram, Kyle Brady. So I was a fan as a kid growing up. But I just was like, we got to make this fun on Saturday. Anyhow. College football is better when Penn State's good. It just is, especially around this area. I hope they win on Sunday. Iowa's a top defense as well. It's going to be an old school Big 10 game. Give me the Lions. Go. We are Penn State.
I like the way you're thinking. I think it's a big game. I think it's an advantage to Penn State to have that game at 4:00 rather than 7:30. Just because night games are just crazy, as you see in Happy Valley all the time with the whiteouts and stripeouts and the environment that's created for the night games. Being a 4:00 game for TV is great. I think it's advantage Penn State. Georgia, they are really good, and we'll see. It's obviously that road has to go through Alabama at some point. If you're going to play for a national championship, you got to win the Southeast Conference championship. So. We'll see, but right now they look really good, and they always have to play Florida too. And even when one is up or one is down, it's the cocktail party is a great place to go for a game, and it's a fun get together in Jacksonville, and anybody can win that game. So,
have you ever been?
Oh yeah.
I never have. It's on my list.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of that, the Red River Shootout is this weekend also, which is a bucket list for me. Texas and Oklahoma at the old Cotton Bowl. And Georgia, Florida does the same thing as they do at Texas, Oklahoma. The stadium is split completely in half, and upright to upright. And one side is red for Georgia and blue for Florida, same as they do with Oklahoma and Texas. It's the coolest scene to see, and it's really fun, and that Red River is on my bucket list as well.
I think it just got added to mine.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. And speaking of that, Georgia last week, Fred, my pal Gino Toretta was doing that game for Touchdown Radio that he owns. So I was listening to it while I was traveling a little bit. He's on Sirius Radio, and Gino was saying all the way in the second quarter, Georgia was pulling back a little bit and just running the ball, trying to grind the clock. That Kirby Smart has so much respect for that Arkansas staff. They came from his staff, and it could have been a whole lot worse than it ended up, and they still ended up throwing a big shutout.
Yeah, and they're running the ball so well every game. They just run the ball, and it seems like it's just like a running back factory. Now you got Cook running all over you. Like the running backs just turn back out. You got Chubb in the NFL. Elijah Holyfield was just on the practice squad. You got Swift from Philly. They're running. The concern's going to be, though, you win games in this league, at least the last few years, by throwing the ball and scoring points in the national championship games. And they got some issues at the receiver. I don't want to say issues, but players that were supposed to be playing. Arik Gilbert, we got him from LSU. He has some personal issues. He hasn't yet to play. So we'll see. But that defense.
Going to be fun. Going to be fun. All right, let's take another quick break. Thank our friends at the PPCC 118 Raz Room. They post great sports memorabilia on their Facebook page so people get a chance of winning something they may not be able to afford or have access to. All items come with certificates of authenticity. They continue to run out great autographed memorabilia from all the Philly teams and more. They've changed things up. They have the popular mystery boxes, the Razes, with just 11 lines available, so your chances of winning are 1 in 11. Great odds. Check out the Facebook page. Like it or follow it. It's PPCC 118 Raz Room. That's right, PPCC 118 Raz Room on Facebook. Well, Fred, we're running out of time, but we're going to hit this real quick. Let's talk Flyers, another team that underachieved last year and the whole COVID mess. They got some roster moves. They bolstered the defense. Carter Hart is back. What are we going to expect?
I got to watch the whole game last night. I'm excited. I think new energy with Atkinson, Ryan Ellis. One guy that I'm very excited to look at is this Keith Yandle guy. He's 35 years old. He's leading the power play. They're running, I don't know hockey like that, but I did some homework and I'm watching it. They got this 1-3-1 going. They were 1 for 4 last night, but it seems different. They're moving the puck around. They're not getting it kicked out of the zone, and they're got time of possession is what I'm going to call it, like in the zone, I guess you would say. So I'm expecting big things, especially, like you said, Carter Hart now being able to practice in the offseason, use the facility, get a normal season under his belt or prep into the year. I think we're going to have a good Flyers team. New energy.
I'm hoping so too, and I get excited about Flyers hockey. I really enjoy it. Hey, let's jump off that real quick because we'll be talking with Bill Meltzer. Fred, there's a question for you. Who do you like in a wild card game tonight?
I like Yankees under 4.5 runs.
Yankees? Oh, goodness.
Under 4.5 runs. I don't know who's going to win. I think they'll be under 4.5 runs.
All right. And here's another cool comment. Our man Pancake, who was on with us last week, took his girls to their first ever Penn State game last week. How cool is that? What a game to go to because it was excitement in Happy Valley.
Pancake is the man. I went to Connecticut School of Broadcasting with him. That dude is so awesome, so nice. I'm so glad to see his success. You're the man, dude.
All right. Well, with that, Fred, let's wrap this thing up. Thanks for joining me. Absolutely. Good time. It flew as we knew it would. Plenty to talk about.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. I love the show. You guys are the best. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it. Let's thank tonight's special guest, Aimee, Levin, Alison, Platt, Tarnopol. I had to be sure I got that right. Our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Bob Sullivan's LikeYourAge.com, PPCC 118 Raz Room, and Dave Lavoie of Allstate Insurance in Westchester. For Freddy Burns and Jim Chet Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll join Philly Press Box Radio next Wednesday, October 13th at 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook or listen through our website, phillypressboxradio.com, on blogtalkradio.com/phillypressboxradio, as well as all the podcasts, Google's, Apple, iHeartRadio, all the others. We have high hopes, Philadelphia sports fans. And let me get to the last thing, Fred, so I don't mess this up. And you gotta listen to this one. Here we go.
Let's do the song. Come on. Come on. Here we go. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fly, Eagles, fly. On the road to victory.